Music sweet. Music sweet. The one who invented music, it got to be that. Got to be the one who created and the sea. River and sea. The Lord has plenty sweetness on the get. Music has no friends or enemies. Everybody would be money. Big money. Big money. Oh, your shoes burn up, you could see them. Blessed good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Blessed good afternoon, brothers and sisters. As they come up, we just want to encourage you to share the live. Trinidad and Tobago, brothers and sisters. I want to send out some love to my UNC family. I must send out some love to my coalition team. Blessed good afternoon, Trinidad and Tobago. Blessed good afternoon. We're back with the next episode of Real Talk. Once again, you know it's your boy, but I want to encourage you to call somebody who knows somebody. Let them know it's time to talk. That's all about. That's all about. Yeah. All right, let's see. Yeah, man. That's the song. All right, ladies and gentlemen, as all you know, we having a little problem with the mixer, so we're going to complain about it. At the end of the day, our responsibility is to make sure and deliver the message. So as the program go along, as the days go along, with the Lord later upon your heart, brothers and sisters, you can swing in any electrical department. If you say, well, hey, going on this show can pause, and we want our thing to be as clean as possible, because we boy over really take on a daily basis. I want to encourage them. Only feel free to reach out there, and you can head in, you can buy a mixer, no matter big or small. Our responsibility is to distribute the relevant message. Now, I don't know how the phone calls will come in today because you see what's going on with the mixer already. But brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, family and friends, all your blessed good afternoon as you come up. All your share the life. We had to talk a little bit. We had to get into a little audio today. Today, we had to just talk a little real talk. But I saw something this morning, very, very early, that had me a little concern. Because, you know, dealing with the issue when it comes to criminal and criminality in Trinidad and Tobago, and, you know, the prison system has been crying out for the longest. And based on the information coming out, my brothers and sisters, we come to realize now a police superintendent is actually practicing rogue activities. As much as we hear about it, it's sad to know that. I mean, it is good to know that brothers and sisters actually being arrested. It's good to know that we can actually conversate about it, because what we want is the problem rectified and the problem to address. My take on that information that is very, very troubling today, my take on that is, I'm talking to the rest of prison officers this blessed afternoon. I'm talking to the police service, the army service, Coast Guard, even the security officers, or people that give out the responsibility to man post and watch private properties and stuff. At the end of the day, we citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, those of us who understand that we cannot continue to go ahead on an everyday basis, breaking law, going ahead and encouraging stealing and this kind of stuff. Those of us who come to terms, and we just want to encourage our services. We want to encourage all your watch me, despite what happened in the past, despite what rogue element is around you, we actually depend on you on a daily basis. Trinidad and Tobago citizens actually depend on you on a daily basis. And nobody can convince us that all the police bad and all the police corrupt. Nobody cannot convince us all the army bad, all the security bad, all the Coast Guard. You understand where I'm coming from. So at the end of the day, it's based on how you represent it, will determine how it is the population look at you. So I want every representing factor when it comes to our armed services, security services. Remember that Trinidad and Tobago is dependent on you. And you play a significant role when it comes to the public and the public contribution. Thank you very much, sir. And it comes to the public contribution. So again, I want to encourage you all to keep that in mind while you navigate. I wouldn't be one of the bloggers coming up here and say, I want us going to all them to hell and them police and them and think, no, it have good ones in the mix. It have police officers that we know, God-fearing police officers, God-fearing army officers, God-fearing Coast Guard. We are God-fearing brothers and sisters. So the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, before we get into that word of prayer, I will shout out to see Daniel in the building. Rodriguez, blessed good afternoon. Suklal, blessed good afternoon. Jamie, blessed good afternoon. And blessed good afternoon to every one of our brothers and sisters in 648, the Real Talk family. Blessed good afternoon. Again, I continue to send out some love to beautiful Tobago. Tobago, blessed good afternoon to you. I want to send out some love to Seagrass to Erin, Buenos Aires, and the Carcass, to Princestown, to Cuba, to the East-West Corridor, Edinburgh 500. Blessed good afternoon to you. Golconda, blessed good afternoon to you. Piti Valley, Maroval, blessed good afternoon to you. Port of Spain on the old Silots. Blessed good afternoon to you. Shagaramas, big up yourself, my partner Crossboss. Blessed good afternoon. COPRC in the building, Tara, see you. Blessed good afternoon. Blessed good afternoon, every single person. All your blessed day. Again, it's all about you looking and watching, all we have to talk. But before we do that, let me get down in our word of prayer. Heavenly Father is your son, Open. Father, we continue to give you all the praise, all the honor, and all the glory. Father, as we get into today's proceeding, Father, we want to lift up and we ask that you cover each and every person, every family representing this afternoon. Father, I ask that you guide, you protect, you continue to order their steps, Father. Cover their families, cover their marriages, their relationships, and their businesses, Lord. Father, we want to say a special prayer for each and every citizen throughout our nation. Father, I ask that you guide, you protect. Father, we thank you for the turning tide. And Father, we say you continue to have your way when there seems to be no way. So Lord, we submit ourselves to you. We humble ourselves. We say, Jesus Christ, and you are worthy to be praised. So Heavenly Father, we ask that you cover our Honorable Prime Minister. Father, we ask that you encamp your angels around Ms. Kamala Prasad, Bisesa SC. Father, you order her steps, and we continue to ask that you just guide her and protect her. Each and every word that is uttered, each and every decision that is made, Father, you continue to make it be based on the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. Lord, we even pray for our entire administration, every representing factor, from security to agriculture, from education, Father, to infrastructure, Father, from IT, every single sector throughout Trinidad and Tobago. Father, you just have your way. Lord, I say a special prayer for my member of parliament, Mr. Ernesto Raymond Kiza. I even want to lift up his entire staff, every representing factor. And Father, I say a special prayer for Point 14 on the whole. Lord, I say a special prayer for Trinidad and Tobago on the whole. Father, we lift up our brothers and sisters outside of our nation today, and we pray that governments on the outside continue to find favor in our citizens. Father, we pray for every single nation that is approaching this war conversation, and we even want to lift up those that are actually in war right now. Father, we say that your name continue to reign superior. Nothing happened without you. You say, ask and we shall receive. So Father, we're asking for this spirit of war, this spirit of this conversation, which continue to frighten a lot of citizens. But Father, your word said, weeping endure for the night, but joy comes in the morning. And we know that there is nothing that could happen without your authority. So Father, we ask that you cover Trinidad and Tobago, cover our citizens, cover our neighboring islands. Father, you even cover the United States of America. We say a special prayer for Palestine today, Lord. Father, we pray that doors open that needs to be open, and you shut doors that needs to be shut. Father, we thank you, we worship you, we exalt your name. In no other name. Amen and amen. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to continue to send out some love to my beautiful wife, Annie, and her co-workers down there in Point 14. I must send out some love to Aliyah and Alicia, who is on an intern course right now. So let's good afternoon to them. I must send out some love to my handsome son, Aiden. I send out some love to Trinidad and Tobago and the whole, my entire family. And you know, you is my family. But brothers and sisters, only today, we have to talk. And this is why I just tell people, and I tell people in this country, it's God who actually controls and controlling every single thing. Now, brothers and sisters, we sit back and we could discuss and we talk about the shortcomings for the past 9 years and 8 months. And as much as we elaborate about that, our responsibility is to always keep our conversation relevant. Now, as much as those of you paying attention, you would know that last night, the People's National Movement had a meeting. Now, ladies and gentlemen, at the end of the day, my responsibility. I don't know if I catch the former Minister of Finance, Mr. Cam Imbert's contribution last night. Mr. Cam Imbert is under the impression that he could misguide and mislead the people of Trinidad and Tobago. So that being said and done, brothers and sisters, I really don't want to be on no sort of plain thing today, because at the end of the day, we have a responsibility to ourselves, we have a responsibility to our family, we have a responsibility to our nation. Now, as much as we sit back and we speak about the shortcomings, as much as we sit back and we point out the foolishness and the folly, others like when those who actually had the opportunity to hold authority put themselves out there. So I must say, bless good night to the PNM team. Last night meeting, I think only reached a little lower than low. I think only passed the white line, basically underneath the Baba Green, underneath the red stone that is actually on the road. Last night's contribution, ladies and gentlemen, I must say, thank God that he delivered the people of Trinidad and Tobago out of the hands of these jokers. Now, mind me, this morning I tuned into the Morning Brew. Now, when you're listening to the Morning Brew, you would notice that there's a gentleman there. He don't bother to deliver the news anymore. His responsibility is to be a part of politicking, politicking. When we sit down and we speak facts, no problem. They quarrel, they cuss, they call me stupid and dotish, call me monkey, and then turn around and tell me it's Indian people calling me that. This is what it was. And when their own brothers and sisters, now mind me, this morning I tuned in. I said, now let me see what Morning Brew had to offer, because the ground report. So I said, open up and mind my business. Tune into the Morning Brew only to see the host explaining to people in Trinidad and Tobago that the defense services had a meeting, and in the meeting, they did not discuss United States of America and Venezuela. Now, at the end of the day, brothers and sisters, we all know how that gentleman received his job. We all know what he was not successful in and where he was placed, temporary, hoping that the next election come around, brother, be ready and be prepared, that he did some work, because he presented himself and enough work wasn't done. So I understand the strategy, but we reached that point now where that administration that planted you, they're no longer in office. So you as a human being have an opportunity to actually serve your people in the right and the efficient way. Now, as much as Trinbagonian citizens, even some of the UNC supporters, is seriously concerned about the United States of America being in the Caribbean waters. Now listen to the conversation. The United States of America never explained to nobody that they were coming to Trinidad and Tobago. Now we all see the signature with Mr. Fitzgerald Hines and the former Prime Minister, which is Mr. Rowley. We saw the picture where they were signing off to do drills, and the drills was targeted against the same Maduro regime. Now, unlike the bunch of hypocrites in red jerseys, we continue to keep it real, we continue to keep it factual. So this gentleman sat down on the national, I don't know who paying for this, and I hope that my government is not participating in paying for this. Because this gentleman's argument is that our defense services had a major meeting and they did not discuss the United States of America and Venezuela. And he find it being irresponsible. He find it out of timing and find it ironic. Now, brothers and sisters, my responsibility is we have to be real and reasonable. 1 minute, this bunch of hypocrites speaking that they don't want our governing authority to support the United States of America. 1 minute, this bunch of hypocrites is explaining to the entire world that Trinidad and Tobago government, our Honorable Prime Minister, is stating that she's standing firm with the United States of America and the fight against narcotics. 1 minute, this bunch of hypocrites is arguing that they find she should still, they find the UNC should mind the business. These hypocrites even put out a map explaining to the world, you see all the parts where yellow, that is where Venezuela could bomb. These hypocrites continue to make contributions that is drastically concerning to me. Because this is what it is I don't understand. It's born out of two things. It's either the PNM supporters want the UNC Prime Minister, our government, to actually be involved in the conversation, or you don't want them to be involved in the conversation. But just for peace sake, ladies and gentlemen, let us have a constructive conversation despite the hypocrites that continue to speak. Now, mind me, the United States of America have already indicated that they would be in Caribbean waters. And again, Trinidad and Tobago have a responsibility, especially the government. One would expect that the Prime Minister would sit at the head of the National Security Council. One would want to expect that Mr. Roger Alexander, who is well experienced when it comes to crime fighting, and know that it's years now he's been fighting against drugs and ammunition on the nation's roadway, and they just can't seem to curb this problem. So this problem seems to be bigger than just directly fighting it in Trinidad and Tobago alone. This is why both organizations, despite these hypocrites today, pretending like they forget all the information and all the content that they put out, both organization supporters already had agreed that Trinidad and Tobago have a problem when it comes to our borders and our borders being exposed. Basic common sense. I reiterate on that to make sure and clarify for people in Trinidad and Tobago, despite the level of gun activities that you hear anywhere you are in the world, my responsibility is to clarify to you there is no gun manufacturing outlet in Trinidad and Tobago. There is no manufacturing, there is no place that make guns in this country. Point number one. Number two, blessed good afternoon. You are seeing the building, just full of seeing the building. Blessed good afternoon, Rampisoon TK. Blessed good afternoon to you, Nigel. I see you. Blessed good day, blessed good day, blessed good day, everyone. Blessed good afternoon, Patricia. Blessed good afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, while we navigate in this conversation, the United States of America already laid down their conversation. Now, me myself had to go and do my research. Now, based on the conversation, not me who said, I am not no investigating officer, I am going with the information that is distributed publicly. Not CNN, I'm going with the word on the ground too. So I'm going with what CNN said, I'm incorporating with the word on the ground say, I'm incorporating what Venezuelan bloggers said, and I'm incorporating what the American government and what their people are saying. And based on the information that is distributed globally, ladies and gentlemen, for some strange reason, when the drugs leave the shores of Venezuela, when it leaves the shores of Colombia, the destination tend to be the United States of America. Now, mind me, ladies and gentlemen, we all know the fight that the United States of... Now, matter of fact, there are people in Trinidad and Tobago, apparently they don't know that the United States of America is factually and active in a fight, crackdown with Mexico and Mexico government concerning the cartels. This is where America is. They're not just in the Caribbean talking and set a talk. They're actually dealing with Mexico and Mexico government and Mexico cartel at the same time. So somebody came up and they talk about why America don't want to attack Mexico. No, it has nothing to do with attack. It's dealing and eradicating a problem that is affecting your economy and affecting your people. Now, at the end of the day, we all know that Venezuela have oil. We all know this. Venezuela have oil and Venezuela have been selling oil, because let me be real and reasonable and let's keep our conversation to perspective. The Venezuelan government claimed to be connected to we boy Vladimir. So he dealing with Vladimir. He claimed to be a part of the BRICS. So if it is you already dealing with Vladimir and you're dealing with the BRICS, then your oil is supposed to be moving. You're not supposed to be dependent on Guyana or even be showing talk for Trinidad and Tobago government, because they restrict the money that he was receiving from the former administration. So the defense minister of Venezuela up in his feelings. You know what's troubling about all of this? What's troubling about all of this is that people who are Trinbagonian citizens is expecting, like, our government supposed to give information that our army services, our army personnel are doing drills to go and invade Venezuela. I don't know what they are actually trying to hear. I don't know what contribution that they want the government to make when it comes to the United States of America and Venezuela, because we all have the basic facts. We already know what we're dealing with. Venezuela is our closest neighbor and America is our longest running ally. And I am telling you, despite who say what and act like they were, this is what has gone with a lot of them. That has walk out on their family, walk out on their wife, and then pick up a woman. And when the woman had 2 and 3 men come on social media and walk the road and talk about all woman bad and woman nasty and woman didn't care about nothing and all these kind of things. And based on the actions that you practicing, you want our government to turn down our longest running island ally. Did not disrespect us. We watch all who get tariff globally. Trinidad and Tobago is on 15% tariff. We see nations on 35, who on 65%, who on 50%, who on all level of percent of tariff. Trinidad and Tobago is on 15% tariff. And after the tariff was signed, there you see American corporations coming into Trinidad. So that gives Trinidad and Tobago government an opportunity to give us a bargaining chip again. So we have things to bargain with where we could go to the American government to discuss bringing down this tariff, because we already know that the tariff, it affects the shipment of goods. It affects our brothers and sisters outside of Trinidad, especially those who live in the United States of America and like the Golden Ray and ever so often get the express papers and like the doubles and the roti, and it will affect that drastically. So our responsibility as a people is to encourage our government to continue to have dialogue with the American government, not to take conversation and take advice from these jokers, from these hypocrites, and turn your back on the United States of America, who didn't do nothing to us. They didn't do nothing to us. They didn't do nothing to us. So this conversation that we have in here, that Trinidad and Tobago and the government supposed to forget America and we acting like it's an American syndrome. But these people and them is a bunch of jokers, because all of them, when they do get the opportunity to go to the bank, or they do get a loan or they borrow money from the cousin or some kind of thing, or they completely selling the drugs, all kind of thing, the places them just want to go is New York City, England, Dubai. These are the places that they want to go. Nobody heads down to Venezuela like that. Now, I must say, my cousin sent some pictures of me from Caracas where he went for Christmas at a particular hotel. With that. But to say the average Trinidad and Tobago citizen getting our money and decide, wait now, let me look to head down Venezuela, that is a no-no. That is a no-no. You cannot sell me that dream. No. So this conversation that we continue to have in Trinidad and Tobago, like the government of Trinidad and Tobago, Ms. Kamala Persad-Dicessa, and her administration, their responsibility is to put it to the United States of America government that all they're trying to do is defend its borders. All they're trying to do is defend the people. You're trying to convince our prime minister because you're not in office. And you know what's sad and the hypocrite part about it? All of the wicked, deceitful supporters stand up and they watch Rowley in the room. They watch Fitzgerald Hines bend down and sign the paperwork for them to do drills, to apply pressure on Maduro. All of a sudden now, it is UNC's fault. All of a sudden now, Ms. Kamala Persad-Dicessa should mind her business now. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, you see when you're biting at straws because you know you personally do wickedness to people. Rowley jump out and he talk. Watch out, all of them in the public domain here now. Rowley jump out and he talking now. Felix jump out and he talking. They're not telling you what we want to hear. We $144 billion that all they borrowed and claim that all they invested. Which part in the population? Which ministry did all they spend that money in? $144 billion. We could really do with the list from the former Foreign Affairs Minister, Ms. Paula Gopi-Schoon, concerning the $27 billion that she claimed her government invested in small and micro businesses. We can do with that information. We can really do with that information. But brothers and sisters, look at where we are. This is why I'm telling all you. God puts up and God takes down. Everything had to happen for a reason. And I want to hit you 15 years of conversation. Ms. Kamala Persad-Dicessa won the election, and she saw certain things that the average Trinidadian did not see. She saw the need for early childhood learning center when, because people was accustomed to P&M styling. People was accustomed suffering. dragging on their own. If it is you don't conform or you don't have a daughter for them to sexually assault, people just, you have to just make it out. And Ms. Kamala received the opportunity 2010 and became the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. One thing that we could dispute, we could argue, and some could argue about the figure, but the facts you cannot eliminate and eradicate. Brothers and sisters, especially my UNC family, after years, we received our first female Prime Minister. And one thing that she remembered in her first run, she remembered when it comes to education, education is in the children book bag. So she went on a rampage building schools. When it comes to helping out the single mothers, she understands that single mothers needed support too. She understands that families in Trinidad and Tobago had already made contribution. We already went through a couple of oil booms and the citizens didn't even have a clue. We heard about it after the boom. And she became the Prime Minister and said, now, let we implement a baby grant. Part of the conversation was, listen, when it comes to the oil field, I don't know if all you remember me telling all you some years ago. When I tell all you, I vote myself out into employment. When I did support the PN, I voted myself into unemployment. So when you hear me stand up and I'm telling you now, allow me, let me support my UNC. Leave me. Because the same UNC won me, and I take family thing and say, well, all right, let me give my family a support. I give my family a support, and thousands of people end up unemployed. Thousands of people had to take their children out of college. Thousands of people, business closed down. Hundreds already dead. We have an opportunity to pull it back. So every time when you come up and all you say, hello, is the code? All you helping me. All you just helping Miss Kamala, all you helping me, all you helping Point 14, all you helping Library. Every time all you say all you loud and proud, all you support Miss Kamala Posad Sessa, all you helping the less fortunate in this country. All you helping all the people who continue to pray, hope that something will change one of these days. Because brothers and sisters, along the way in 2010, we sat back and we saw Ms. Kamala Posad Sessa give every representative the opportunity to man their post. She didn't violate nobody. You see how it turned out. When it started to get helter-skelter conversation with Jack Warner, so you have to step down. Our next conversation with our next minister concerning an incident on a plane, so you have to step down, please. Next conversation, excuse me, you will have to recuse yourself until you clarify your name. And then, this is the same term, eh? And then the UNC went on. And then when UNC went on, other MPs practice heavy rogue activity. Heavy rogue activity. And brothers and sisters, along the way, the person who had to take the blame was Ms. Kamala Posad Sessa. Now let me explain something to you. Ms. Kamala Posad Sessa could have said, well, boy, at the end of the day, yeah, I was the Prime Minister, but it's not me, it's not my name, it's not me thing. Along the way, election was called and she ended up in opposition. PNM won the election. Listen what I'm telling you where I'm going with this. PNM won the election. And Ms. Kamala Posad Sessa and her team had to do the evaluating. And they come back and they told the public, whoa, I will be presenting myself as the political leader of the UNC. This is Ms. Kamala Posad Sessa. And on top of that, you wouldn't be seeing the same crew of people that you saw the last time around. And the nation, election wasn't no way. This was even in Rowley first term. And the nation said, I talk. She only talking that. And we went through the 2 terms. Through the 2 terms, things that was done in Ms. Kamala 1 terms, the schools that was drastically needed in communities. PNM didn't bother to complete it. but they were busy telling the nation that they're supporting the people. Projects that was being done, even the UE campus, they didn't bother to complete it. Hospital, they didn't bother to open, because all these things was just personally for UNC and UNC supporters. The citizens of Trinidad and Tobago did not need it. And brothers and sisters, after 9 years and some months, God finally instructed and made PNM call that election, and the people of Trinidad and Tobago voted back in Ms. Kamala Persad-Bissessy. I want to explain something to you, why I tell you that. I listened to Mr. Imbert spoke last night, and Mr. Imbert's conversation was about the story, Animal Farm. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you are not aware of the story, Animal Farm, your responsibility is to read Animal Farm. Because Mr. Imbert, I must say, blessings, touching a little bit on English literature, man. Remember, we've been stupid and noticed here, so nobody unaware. And notice while he was speaking, the people in the crowd started clapping. And my responsibility this afternoon is to explain to the UNC people, the coalition family, to my family, and make sure and explain to the Tucci PNM trolls that it will be having up on the page, because let us tune in after to leave the disrespectful comment, because let us put them in their place. And my responsibility is just to clarify for you. This conversation, Animal Farm, that Mr. Imbert take my government and align it with. Hold on. Ladies and gentlemen, my responsibility is to let Mr. Imbert know. I want to thank you very much. After lying to the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, after being so vindictive to the people of Trinidad and Tobago, the Lord used you to deliver a very important message last night. So, brothers and sisters, let me get down into a piece of the conversation when it comes to Animal Farm. Because we have a responsibility. We ain't going to talk the whole thing. I will just give the summary. Let me don't spoil it for you. We are Old Major, we are Napoleon, we are Snowball. Now, mind me, brothers and sisters, those of you who are unaware of the story of Animal Farm, let me just do a quick synopsis of Animal Farm. There was this man who had a farm, but he never used to take care of the farm, take care of the animals. He used to drink and fall asleep, and while he at it, he pretending that he actually gardened the farm. So ever so often in the middle of his sleep, he go jump out of sleep and he go bust a shot, because the gates open, the animals and them roaming, them living how they want to live, them living free. Because the owner not providing the relevant things. Now again, ladies and gentlemen, the owner not providing the relevant things, and the owner is not taking care of the animals as he's supposed to. Now, that being said and done, I am putting the PNM, and based on how Mr. Imbert spoke, he put the PNM as the farmer. So this morning, this afternoon, Urban Felix, I am putting PNM as the farmer that neglected its animals. Because either way, or let us call we monkey, or let us call we all kind of derogatory names, and then turn around to tell me that is Indian people calling me. So the heights is, for the longest, African people in this country, what is damn disrespectful is that Mr. Imbert explained this. But either way, let me get back to the conversation. They have been addressing us as animals anyway. So we would utilize what it is Mr. Imbert said. So the PNM is the farm. Now, brothers and sisters, we have Napoleon and we have Snowball, which is 2 pigs. Now, the farm explained that the pig population, which is Old Major, was one of the pigs. He had a vision that the animals themselves will rise up and they will control the farm. And mind me, it actually did happen. The animals rose up and they control the farm. Now with the animals controlling the farm, ladies and gentlemen, this is us in 2010, 2015. We rose up and we control the farm. Now along the way, with controlling the farm, utilizing the same conversation, is the same way how the people of Trinidad and Tobago felt. So it's actually God used Mr. Embert last night. So thank you very much, Mr. Embert. So while all of this was going on, and then Old Major and Napoleon and them ended up getting to control the farm. Brothers and sisters, the conversation with the farm is all animals are equal. But when the pigs started controlling, because the pigs who actually started the revolution, they started the conversation, it ended up being all animals are equal, but some are. Guess where I'm coming from? Now, if you go back between 2010 and 2015, the way how some of those representatives under the former, I can't say coalition, partnership, under the former partnership, and those members of parliament, ladies and gentlemen, you're no longer seeing them. You are no longer seeing them. So here what happened with Animal Farm and the conversation. It so happened that when the animals end up controlling the farm, the pigs and them started to act superior. And then the animals started talking about it just like the people of Trinidad and Tobago. We started talking about it. This is how PNM end back up in government. Now mind me, ladies and gentlemen, Embert reach right there and tell the people of Trinidad and Tobago that that is what is going to happen. Embert didn't even realize that whole story was already unfolded in front of his eyes. Because in 2010, 2015, exactly what happened in the story, exactly how people was feeling. That is how they felt, and people spoke out. Some people were saying that they find UNC pull away. Some of UNC, even Indian supporters, were saying they find it hard to get through with the MP, and they're ignoring the people, and on top of that, they're playing bright. This is what happened, and they realized that it's only the MP and them eating, and they realized it's only those on top eating. This was the conversation. Now, mind me, the People's National Movement had the opportunity for 2 terms. And ladies and gentlemen, just like Animal Farm, United National Congress, because they don't call we animals already, was able to huddle back up the people just like Animal Farm. Snowball was one of them who was practicing rogue activities in the camp. The disciplined Snowball. This is what Ms. Kamala Prasad Sessa did. Discipline those who practicing rogue activities. You notice they sit down, they talk about Mr. Munilal and EMBD, they get 2 terms, couldn't bring no evidence. 2 terms, they're in charge of the court, they're in charge of everything. They're still trying to talk about Mr. Munilal and EMBD. So it's either the lawyers dunce or somebody lying because they never produce factual information. Jan, bless, good afternoon. Nikki, bless, good afternoon. Star Child, bless, good day. Listen, Snowball was put in place. And let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. My responsibility is to explain to you. You see the ending up of that story? The ending up of the conversation, of the story. Animal Farm. My children doing English literature. So I well aware of the conversation and they just talk this school business around we. So I'm well aware of the conversation. You know how that story end up? The story end up where the pigs and the rest of farm animals end up having back a meeting. Because the whole heights, the whole thing was about the windmill and we had to get when them want to control their own vibes. The ending up of the story, listen how the story ended. The story ends, forward, comrades. Long live the windmill. Long live the Animal Farm. What Mr. Embert explained to his PNM comrades yesterday. What he did last night is explain to them, you see that 3 terms that we're talking about with the UNC? They, being the farmers who was in charge of the farm to make sure and feed the animals, they didn't. They were drinking based on the amount of rum Mr. Pararat wheelie out of the Prime Minister's residence. They were linemen. If you check through the corporations, you would notice they don't hesitate to sleep with the children for government handouts. This is what they did. This is how they represent. They poorly represented the people. And when they're done, they went and sleep. And while they're sleeping and the fox come to prey, they jump out of the sleep with their guns and allow shooting and murders and kidnapping and business at the close because they were in charge. Everybody thought that they were the right person to handle the country, just like the animals thought that they were in good hands with the farmers. It's over a period of time, just like the period of time that come to an end for the PNM. It's over a period of time, the animals build the confidence. And just like any revolution, just like any organization, there will be hiccups along the way. But what I love with this story, just like what I love with the UNC supporters, you see those who realize what's going on because people give the PNM enough chances. Give them enough listening here and give them enough votes. So what I love about this story shows the decision that was made with the animals among themselves. There ain't no problem. We go be animals. There ain't no problem. We go dress good as animals. We will live good as animals. Because based on what it is they're showing me, it look like human being and living good. I have dog and I have cat in my yard. The cat sleeping on top of the dog. Human beings didn't understand that yet. PNM supporters didn't understand that yet. Animals already made the relevant adjustments and understand that all of us come together and living in this space. But this is not what they promote. They promote division. This is why God gave them a story to show the continuous downfall of their organization. Brothers and sisters, so let's get to that story. The name of it is Animal Farm by George Orwell. Get to that story and you will see what Mr. Inbert explained. Mr. Inbert, I tell you, thank you. Thank you. You believe you could use English literature because you believe everybody's stupid and dotish. Brothers and sisters, don't look at it as a downfall. Don't look at it as the conversation he spoke last night. He talked a lot of crap last night to it. But don't look at it as he preaching something. That is God speaking to him, preparing his people. Next general election is Molix. Following general election is Molix. Local election is Licks. Because they poorly represented the people. Poor. That is my take. Let me get to some of the conversation, you know. Anybody want to add anything? The phone lines is open 324-0844. Let me talk a little bit about righteousness must build a nation. Because brothers and sisters, as I continue to ask you and continue to encourage you on a daily basis, we must remember that our children looks at us on a daily basis. And the things that we say, the things that we do, what we participate in, it determines how they move on, how they function. And we have a responsibility to make sure, despite whether it was a robber, whether it was a murderer, whether it was a criminal, we have a responsibility to make sure, brothers and sisters, and don't practice rogue activities. That's our responsibility. I want to get a piece of Mr. Imbotiete, and I want to let you listen to what it is these people marketing to the people. Ladies and gentlemen, I need a little call somebody. Only blessed good afternoon. I see we have 400 and better up on the Days Real Talk program. Blessed good afternoon to you. Only let me get down on this information.
(2026) it was a 2 year. And during that period, You will groom your successor, and then you'll smoothly move out and he will move it. It's a resign. So, what's that? So I'll go and leave and then I'll come back and see what we will do. He said, no, resign. That's all in this article. So,
ladies and gentlemen, this is Mr. the former Minister of Finance, Mr. Carmen, we're talking about the manager from the bank. Who it is he's saying that the UNC tells to resign and go and gone from here and all these kind of things. Again, I still don't understand out of everybody in Trinidad and Tobago what gave this former Minister of Finance the authority to have any conversation when it comes to UNC and the coalition's business, when it comes to the people business of Trinidad and Tobago. When his organization, his PNM organization, being led by Keith Rowley, had the factual data that over 65% of Petrotrin population, this is the working class in Petrotrin, over 65% of the workers was going home in under 2 years. Why? Because they reached retirement age. And they still closed down the company. They could have paid them men, let the men and them finish the time, pay the men off the time, and allow the young workers and them to continue working. Instead, because of corrupt and illegal activities being dealt with Petrotrin, based on not me, based on the news, based on the way how the partner portray himself on Facebook and YouTube, based on that, you could don't tell Agatawi. You could don't tell that was the dance. So based on that, you could see that it had corrupt activities that took place in the background. So this Minister of Finance wasn't minding his own business to know that closing down Petrotrin was an irresponsible thing to do. On top of that, you could allow the workers to finish their time because over 65% of the population was going home in less than 2 years. But yet still complaining. Let me get it going again.
So where she said, look, I prefer to go and leave and when I come back and review the transition. It was rejected. What happened after that? I just put into the paper that the lady resigned. She didn't resign, she retired. The lady had already reached retirement age. But I put a fake story in the paper saying she resigned. Causing now the lady to come and say, correct the record. I never resigned. I retired because I passed retirement age. Same sort of thing. That's what I'm saying. It's not a mistake. And I understand in every state enterprise, in every statutory authority, everybody is being pressured to resign. In ministry, people are coming to work, and as they are they get a letter. Well, now, and you have one over the packet belongings and leave the building, and then they're escorted out by security. That's what's happening in Trinidad and Tobago today. That's what I'm telling you. This is the worst I have ever seen. And they was bad enough. Somewhere the first incarnation was bad enough, but this is the worst. And there's more to come. You know why they haven't hired any new CPEP contractors? It's not just the lawsuit that Martin already giving them pressure. Money. They have no money. The government is broke. I'm going to read.
Now, Trinidad and Tobago. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to listen to the words coming out of the former Minister of Finance. Now, mind me, this is the last man that read budget in this country. This man is wholly and solely responsible for the budgetary allocations for Trinidad and Tobago until UNC read budget in September. Listen to what this man is telling you. Now, mind me, billions of dollars has been allocated to run this country for the year. Ladies and gentlemen, this gentleman just explained to you that our government come into office and in do no spending yet. Listen to what it is he is telling you going on with the monetary affairs in Trinidad and Tobago. And you would tell me if he's supposed to be asking about money or if we who supporting the UNC should be asking about money. Take a look. UNC not in office 5 months yet and they didn't read one budget yet.
From a cabinet minute, which is dated 7th of August 2025. And this cabinet minute was not given to me by somebody in the Ministry of Finance. It came from somewhere else. Let them figure it out. This is
Listen, stupidness. This is a cabinet note. This is the business of Trinidad and Tobago. The people of Trinidad and Tobago are supposed to be aware of their business. This is how PNM do business. This is why the PNM supporters. No. All right. Right? The People's National Movement explaining to us and having all this kind of brothers and sisters, I am drastically confused. Honestly, let me go again.
minute August 10, 2025. And the heading is approval for the transfer of funds held in escrow for 16 government guaranteeing loans to the Treasury to assist government with funding for the remainder of the fiscal year 2020. Now, after August 17, less than 2 months ago to the end, and then what's going on here? We as a PNM government over the years, from 2017, 2018, 2019, coming all the way up to 2025, we recognize that the UNC has left the country in such a mess that many of the state enterprises couldn't manage what paying the MTS is an example. The UNC government signed 100 contracts for school construction just before it went out of office in 2022. To finish those schools would have cost $3 billion. They didn't raise 3 cents. So one of the things we have had to struggle with over the last 10 years is how to complete all of those school projects. So we took out a series of loans for MTS to finish the schools.
We took out, listen, we took out a set of loan for MTS to finish the schools. Ladies and gentlemen, it's either we is mad people or Stack, what's name? Stack Entertainment. It's either his AI game is off the rockers. Stack had to be one of the wettest computer AI man that I know. Stack can even come down in Southern. Stack walk around in certain districts and show us how much schools was left abandoned. How much projects was left incomplete, and this was just in this 2025 general election. And Mr. Imbert is explaining to the public last night that they went on behalf of you, on behalf of me, PNM supporters, are they listening? They went on behalf of the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago and borrow money for MTS to repair schools, upgrade schools, to complete schools. And where did these things take place? Jesus Christ, we have drug people who using drugs sleeping on school compound. Only miss all these videos over here. Over the year I'm talking about, not over the years. Over the year, between last year and now. We're talking about bush, about 10 feet in school compounds. We're talking about when rain fall, the schools flooding. We're talking about when you go to schools, the gypsum ceiling falling down. We're talking about when you're in schools and you're talking schools, inadequate water. What the hell is this, man? Boy, let me go.
The read this video. The matter for the consideration of cabinet is the approval for transfer of funds held in account for 16 government guaranteed loans executed by state entities. And it goes on to list all the loans. There's a loan of $200 million for the Rural Development, a loan of $500 million for the National Insurance Property Development Fund. Now, the $200 million for rural development was to do a series of projects throughout Trinidad, box trade, retaining wall, landfill repair, footpath, critically needed projects in every community in Trinidad. This money was.
See, just I want to reach out to you. I want to reach out to CJOS. Bless good afternoon, CJOS. Somebody in CJOS, identify yourself. I had to be missing some kind of thing. The last time I checked, CJOS had over 9 landslip. The last time I checked, CJOS had a major problem. One they deal with. One. So I need somebody to start a correctory. When all these $200 million, please, all of them, we don't like, if the people and them spend the money and the road was repaired properly down CJOS and nobody was inconvenienced and the gas truck never had to stop run and the school children never had to stop go to school. If what it is I am saying here today is a lie, because as far as I know, it's just closing after the election, they hurry up to finish. One of the landslip. They do little anything, meaning put up bamboo in the road and run caution tape in different parts. All the charge for that too. Out of the $200 million, then bamboo will stick in the hole and run caution tape around it to indicate the drivers, monitor how you're driving down here because we're not fixing the road. That's all it did. So if that's where the $200 million was incorporated in, well then somebody from out that CJOS, somebody from out that Point 14, all they reach down my way. I need the information because something kind of baffling me here. Something is baffling me here. First, these people practice racialism and practice wickedness blunt. A major landslide on the national roadway heading down to CJOS happened. We're talking about literally block off the road. CJOS people had to navigate how they had to navigate. They were basically told by the MP that it's all a blasted business, all they reach out. CJOS people had to come out and protest, had to come out, ladies and gentlemen, and march to get a road repair, tax-paying people. It's a doctors, it's a fisherman. Come on, it's a hustlers down there. And them left them people, but what I like with it, God, I tell you, God just put up and he just take down. The same time in CJOS dealing with that. The road in Cochrane come and fall apart. Cochrane is predominantly African. Guess where they run and fix? And trying to tell me that all you had people in Tris at heart. Madness, disrespect, and anytime all they had to do something, all they had to drastically inconvenience the people in the nation.
$200 million. Small project, community project. The next loan for $500 million for the program for upgrading roads efficiency. That is all the road paving programs of the government.
Road paving.
MPF loans were to construct schools. There were a series of MPF loans.
Yes, ma'am.
Then you had a loan for NATCO, the National Entrepreneurship Development Company Limited.
Let's talk.
Under the Honorable Foster Cummings.
Yes, ma'am.
That was $50 million to implement and administer the micro and small business grant scheme to start the Empower Connect project and for loans.
Hold up, hold up, hold up, hold up. Hold up right there. Ms. Paula Gopis could explain to the people of Trinidad and Tobago that our government invested $27 billion in small and micro businesses. And we can't find one person throughout Trinidad and Tobago. Then you turn into tell me now the same government under Foster Cummins, straight, upstanding, law-abiding Foster Cummins, get extra $50 million. And within all that time, we asking concerning that $27 billion. You're talking about we have an extra 50 million that we can identify nobody receiving any form of support from. This is what it is Mr. Imbert is explaining that we did.
Net food branch network. Then you have a loan for Palo agricultural enterprises, 400 million.
What?
You know what that was for? That was to build surface building lots for former petroleum workers in South Trinidad. Former colony workers got land, it was to give former petroleum workers land. That's what that loan was all about.
Former colony workers get land. That was to give former petroleum workers land. Is it was to give former PNM aligned petroleum workers land? I think it's that what Mr. Imbert trying to say. I honestly think that is what it is he trying to mark. Because when you're talking former petroleum workers, remember Parliament is a former petroleum worker. Matter of fact, on any given day, you could see former petroleum workers around him as much as you see regular people from the community. You have former petroleum workers in the midst. So I would like somebody from the PNM to just clarify who is these former petroleum workers that received this land? And is the opportunity still around? Did you all leave a list for the new administration to close off the chapter to make sure that all former petroleum workers get land? Because I've seen petroleum workers, former workers, permanent and who was casual, I've seen them working taxi. I talked to the majority of the casual workers. They didn't receive any benefits. So these workers that Mr. Imbert is lying to his PNM supporters about, could anybody identify or send the list? Or are we going to say, because Ms. Kamala Prasad says, look, in 2025, still end up with the responsibility handling the colony workers? So is it that our conversation continue to be valid when we explain to you that the United National Congress will have to sit in office for the next 3 terms and more? Because listen to the garbage that PNM is endorsing and listen what this man is saying. This man is only talking about monies that he borrowed. Mind me, his era of being in power is gone in it. And all the monies that was borrowed, the projects wasn't done. So where's the money? Because the new government is asking where's the money. A couple of the boards indicating no, there's madness taking place and madness took place. We were shocked and baffled to know that Angostura made the investment when it comes to the Vibes Cartel concert. We were shocked as citizens to know that. Because as I tell brothers and sisters, despite what you gotta give Vibes Cartel the respect, he end up out of prison. And on top of that, despite his criminal matter, the fella is a very skilled fella when it comes to his music business. But at the end of the day, it still do not eliminate the fact of the activities that he used to practice. It's not making sense. It's like me not living in the public domain and trying to convince people I don't be on the streets again by hiding. I will be on the streets again all of my life, take a full 360, and nobody can vouch for it. Angostura Limited, based on the information that was put out, is who find the $1 million to handle Vibes Cartel. While we was thinking the bottling deal, that is a damn good deal. And we was thanking the board for that. We didn't know that the board utilized resources that it was not authorized to utilize on behalf of who? And then the question was, who was going to reap the profit? Because obviously you didn't tell the public about that. All this took place under Mr. Imbert and his team. Jesus Christ.
They had a loan for the land settlement agency.
More loan again. More loan again.
To build the housing and village improvement program. Some of you may be aware of this program. This is a very innovative program where you take someone who's living in a shack, in a board house, and you build a brand new concrete structure for them, free of charge. Very innovative program.
Well, my responsibility is to explain to you what Mr. Imbert don't know, how the PNM MPs and the PNM representatives and them utilize this program. When people apply to the program, because I know a couple of people who apply for the program. Right now, they hang up right now. Some of them, because they started to speak up because the material was coming slow, the support was coming slow, and on top of that, it's because they're living in inconvenience, because some of them was living in shack, but they was living in the shack. But you had to break the shack before they started to build the structure for you. So you end up living by people, and when you go into the office to ask for updates, they're disrespecting you. And when you put on your foot and you're like, well, what kind of thing is that? Why are they dealing with me like that? You know what they do? You know what they do to my partner, to all man in the back by me here? They send Land and Settlement Agency, after they take government resources to put on a concrete structure for him, don't put on the walls, just waiting on the roof, because Tallman and them under pressure. And Tallman going to find out what is the situation concerning the building of the house. Then get vexed with the man, a big man, elder than we father, you know. They get vexed with the man and let go LSA on the man. LSA send the man an eviction notice, telling the man that he had to break the concrete structure that the same government built for him on the property. In order for them to take it on the property, you have to have a deed, the man have the deed of comfort and everything, you know. That is how they utilize these programs that they continue to boast about. They utilize it like it's their personal money. That blatant facts are giving you. Me and tell lie for you. You man people. I'm looking for the document here. With Tallman, I think I'm gonna be jumping in. This is what it is. That is how they represent. So this conversation that they continue to speak. Well, let me go again.
There was a loan of $150 million for that. The Water and Sewage Authority,
listen,
always hands about owning contractors almost $1 billion. Buy material. There was a loan of $350 million.
Water and Sewage Authority always hand them out. Now, this man in opposition, this is 2025 he talking. If you ask this man how long he have been in government, he have been in government longer than he has ever been in opposition. This man could have been helped fix Wassa, could have been installed all what needed implementing to bring about the relevant support and redress for Wassa. Instead, you know what he, Marvin Gonzalez and Rowley, Rohan Sunan and Kazem Hussein, you know what the engine room at the PNM decided to do? They decided to make the Wassa employees, this is the people who are the responsibility to dig the holes, excuse me, to connect the lines, to turn water on and off. They stripped them of their value and they took all the money and decided to spend it indoors. Now, first their fight was against the Wassa workers. Marvin Gonzalez, which is the former utility minister. Watch how high Marvin Gonzalez is, you know. Marvin Gonzalez living off our perks, he eating and he drinking nice. And that man still leave that nice office after living luxurious, but first it is in PNM culture to fight down poor people. And that man come down on the ground to fight a WASA worker for driving a van that is authorized to drive. Me and them.
For WASA, so inside of there, allowed to do critical pipeline and pump replacement project. HPC, they are allowed 200 million to deal with outstanding bills and to continue the HCC program to give people houses, affordable housing. All of these loans have a purpose. The purpose was to pay off bills over contractors, continue critical government programs, housing, road paving, school construction, school maintenance. That is what all these loans were for. Look at what.
So technically, what it is, Mr. Imbert is asking the people of Trinidad and Tobago, just like Tiantec, they ran up a set of debt. They end up owing a lot of people while they was in government. Why? Now, mind me, all that little money when he talk about it, they were borrowing money before that, for the same thing, the same cause. And he trying to convince we, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, that we supposed to feel sorry for them being in opposition because they ran up debts. They borrowed money and did not pay the bills of the people of Trinidad and Tobago.
I don't know what to call him. Christian called my name. I don't know what to call him. We call him demon. How about that? Look at what.
Let me call them demons. Listen, the Africans in the crowd laughing. Yap, yap, yap. Let me call them demons. And listen to the African in the crowd. Yap, yap, yap. Just like when Faris Alwari stood up on national television and gave expression and breakdown to every African in Trinidad and Tobago how stupid Mr. John Jeremy is. Again, the laugh at that. Yap, yap, yap. Anybody who speak about any form of upliftment for Trinidad and Tobago, they don't like it. Any African that show any form of progress in Trinidad and Tobago, they hate it. They despise it. Evidence? If it is you're not living in Trinidad and Tobago, I want to direct you to news source page. Go and check news source page. We have a sister in Trinidad and Tobago named Matara. Now Matara does loudly, proudly support the UNC. Government change up in Matara zone. Matara happened to get a work as a cleaner in Wassa. In her zone, they didn't bring Matara point, they didn't carry she penal. By Matara them, she get a work as a cleaner in Wassa. Ladies and gentlemen, I kid you not. If you see the comments from African people towards Matara getting a work as a cleaner in Wassa, it's like African people hate to see African people at least show any form of progress. If Matara was, if she was promoting her OnlyFans page, they would have loved that. They would have loved that. But the fact that Matara, Anthony Williams, listen what I'm telling you, the fact that Matara sat down on social media and before she started advising people and giving off her experience, she explained to people where she come from and what she did. This message is for Anthony Williams from Point 14. You don't come out in the public domain and believe that you could have conversation with people and only clarify the nastiness of the practice. Imbert stand up in the crowd last night and calling the UNC demon. And these Africans and them like they have no shame. Imbert was a part of the Manning regime. Penelope Beckles, Donna Cox, all these people, even Amy Brown, was around. And all of them watch PNM supporters spit on money. Matter of fact, they spit in the man's face. All of them. Guess what? You know, PNM found a way to get African people to rejoice as somebody spitting in somebody's face. First, PNM is good. They found a way to get African people to laugh at the fact that a next African spit in an African man's face. Now, the African man that gets spit in his face is not a regular guy like Felix, not a regular guy. Was a former prime minister. Former prime minister. Mr. Imbert aligning UNC with demons. He was a PNM when they spit in Manning's face. Amory Brown, Penelope Beckles, Donna Cox, the list goes on and on and on. Not one of them gave a public apology. Forget Brian Manning, because he hates his father. We come to terms with that. Not one of them gave a public apology to the people who seriously was supporting Mr. Manning. Forget politics. If they have a human being I know that will accept a spitting face, and the children who actually big, strong, and healthy accept that. If they have one person that I just talk to, deal with, and as a matter of fact, there are laws in place for that. And the PNM government found a way to get the supporters to rejoice on that. Let's good afternoon. I see we over the 500, ladies and gentlemen. Let's good afternoon. Then we get back to the audio. Now, mind me, the audio ain't running good because I told already the mixer went down. So we ain't complaining about what we don't have. The Lord laid upon somebody's heart and say, Ruben, come and pick up our mixer. Thank you very much. Until then, I am not working until. Meaning when I say I'm not working, I ain't out in the field handling my situation and doing my little thing here and supporting my government, supporting my people, and keeping me updated with our things. Only let me go again.
Since they came in on April 28th, they freeze all the loans. So,
since they come in April 28th, the UNC freeze all the loans. So let me hear why UNC freeze all the loans.
ACC still owes money to all its contractors. ACC still have thousands of unfinished houses all over the country. Roads still need paving and patching, contractors still need to be paid. Schools still need to be completed and built and repaired. They canceled all. They didn't spend 1 cent out of those loans. So I have
question, and anybody could forward this to Mr. Imbert. The monies that you already take from the loan, could PNM identify those projects so the public, people like me in the public, could just feel a little comfortable? The monies that all you already borrowed, took out of the loan, because we know how our loan does go. As you make the investment, you continue to get more money. The monies that was already borrowed out of the loans, these hundreds of millions of dollars that you explained to us last night, could you identify the projects and send the paperwork? We are bound for the contractor. Send the paperwork so that the citizens make it public, so that the citizens could see the investment. Liar.
surprised at what Richard Wolcott said, that they have given no money to corporations for goods and services because they do that for before. No money for MTS.
They didn't give no money for corporations for goods and services. to buy what well, like the borrow like waka string and thing on and fuel and thing on. Because that problem actually was there when PNM was in power. And they say they ain't giving the corporations no money for goods and service. What do you really mean? Is it that the audit that the PNM did the other day, when it came out that point 14 was over 20 years, did not deliver no financial audits? Is it that those things were updated? But the public can have that information here. And I would want to believe if our government have been waiting for 2 terms and given the opportunity to be in government, well, one would want to make sure that while your government governing, you iron out all rough ends. Hence the reason why the jacket's so straight now. Iron out all rough ends. Because you don't peep into CPEP, you realize it's corruption. When you look at URP, corruption. San Fernando Corporation always shocked me. I see San Fernando Corporation out and about talking about that they are fun. All you find back the monies that was missing. All you rectify the conversation concerning the consular and these big contracts that they were receiving in CPEP. All these things already answered because it's kind of shocking to me to know that all you're out and about partying again and not handling the people's business. Because we need some closure when it comes to the monies that went missing in San Fernando Corporation. We need some closure when it comes to the consular. Is the consular actually reaching to the point now? Are you comfortable with the decision that the UNC government made, agreeing that you yourself not supposed to continue having contracts back to back? What is the update with that? Or are you still under the impression that the UNC wicked and bad for following a procurement that the PNM procured in 2017 by stating on that CPEP they can't use the same contractor over and over? They can only vex with the UNC for following the law. We know that they vex with UNC for following the law. UNC was supposed to come in and continue. That's like what Faris Alwari said. For his full 9 years, they didn't want to the parliament to address nothing. They were just spending money as they see fit because that them grandmother money. But them went and work and accumulate the money over the years. So that is their money. So you could just go in, and on top of that, they boldly did it in front of the eyes of the people of Trinidad and Tobago. Because it was a Rowley-led administration that went back to Parliament to debate the procurement legislation. And they give this same wicked, deceitful Minister of Finance, this unjust Minister of Finance that raised gas unjustly on the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. They give this same deceitful man the power to adjust millions of dollars as he sees fit without coming to the Parliament to bring any form of update to the people about their monies. And when the opposition ask about it, they tell Trinidad and Tobago that the opposition fast and out of the place. While they're drinking rum and coming to meetings, the man come to the meeting drunk and telling Miss Kamala, drinking rum and hush him up. While you drunk on stage. You telling me these people is not mad, disrespectful, out of timing, unethical, wicked people? But anyway, let me go in.
No money for HTC. No money for the Ministry of Works. That's what they've been doing. And check what they do with this money. Yeah.
Mr. Imbert feel people is idiots. So. Imbert quarreling because the UNC and the coalition of interests ain't pumped no money in HDC since the coming. Ladies and gentlemen, they might consider Lakeview a PNM town, but Lakeview is human beings living down there. If you take your time and go back on my Facebook page, you will notice that when rain fall heavily, the human beings that have living in that PNM town down there actually living in sewer. And that is not the only housing scheme that HDC had the responsibility for over the years and neglect. It's throughout the country, HDC neglect the people, especially under the PNM stewardship. So it's kind of shocking to me that you out here lobbying for HDC and HDC to continue spending the taxpayers' money when HDC has not been delivering to the taxpayers.
All those loans had a purpose.
Purpose.
$1.3 billion in total. You think all and they put it in Campo Bank. That's what this one is all about. Listen to this, and nobody wants to lend them money.
They take all the loan and they put it in a bank account. Now mind me, you're preparing for our budget. Let me go.
Based on current liquidity levels, the government of Trinidad and Tobago's ability to easily or readily access funds on the domestic market has been severely constrained. That is technical language for the bank.
No, you don't give me no technical language. That is the language for that all you keep borrowing the people money and not delivering to the people of Trinidad and Tobago. It so happened that the United National Congress with the coalition of interests inherited the problem. So the United National Congress with the coalition of interests had to make sure and get a house in order. So you can't come into government and spend money while. You set your structure, read your budget, spend your money smart, spend your money in a way that it would circulate back in your society. Don't send it Venezuela. Don't send it to CARICOM leaders. Don't sit down and come up with plans to make young people terrorists. You spend your money so that the people in the country could benefit from it. This way, when you go to borrow money, people will understand that your interest is in your country. Again, $144 billion borrowed on the backs of Trinbagonian citizens. That wasn't enough money for them to fix all the schools Mr. Ember talked about last night. All the roads, all the refurbishment. $144 billion couldn't do it. But one penny and a group of regurgitated politicians will fix our problem. Boy, we have to be the most stupidest people in this country to believe that.
Lend them no money. And you really have to wonder whether the forced departure of the CEO of First Citizens Bank is because she didn't want to go over the limit. She didn't want to breach the central bank regulation. And they were demanding that she give them billions of dollars in money. And she couldn't do it. She had lost her job. You have to wonder if they told her to resign because she didn't want to break the central bank regulation. You have to wonder. But what this note is saying is that they can't borrow money. The banks don't want to give them any money.
Ladies and gentlemen, I feel I will pause. They don't want to get no money. The bank don't want to give them no money. Now, this is to the command man on the ground, just in case that you don't know how it is. Let me just say I happen to be holding down a good job. And your job gives you access to receive a loan to build a house. And you go to the bank agreed that they will lend you $1.6 million to build your dream home. Hear how that is good. Listen to the average man on the ground. Hear how that is good. The bank don't sign over $1.6 million. They don't do that. Your responsibility over the period of time, there's a process how a bank, how the thing does go. So you have to get your plan. Obviously, that will come with that cost to top you up. But by the time you reach the bank, normally you already have your plan and everything. So you just want money for the house. So how this going? The bank said we go financing with the house, don't get no harass. You start with the decking. You see, after the decking complete, you send in the relevant pictures, them send out the person to do the relevant checks. Everything passed the spec. Right, tongue and country, everybody good. Then they give you money for your walls. This is how it does go when you borrow money from the bank. What it is Mr. Imber just explained is that they have been borrowing money from the bank. We know that them was in power for the past 9 years and 8 months. Them take charge. They did a damn good job of mashing up this country. They didn't upgrade the school system, didn't give us adequate sidewalk, didn't give us adequate water. They didn't increase employment. They didn't increase nothing. Everything was depreciated under the PNM. Whether it be sports, whether it be employment, whether it be infrastructure, whatever it is, the People's National Movement, based on what you can see when you go into communities, they did not make the relevant investment. when it comes to the people and the communities of Trinidad and Tobago. And when you go and borrow money to do a water project, no matter who you borrow the money from, the person who lends that money, when they tune in, because you say you complete this project, you cut your ribbon and you do all of that, and then when people tune in to South Central, it's still water problems. So the question will ask, where did this money spend? And then on top of that, it would be a problem for you to get money borrowed going forward in the future. And this is the position that Keith Rowley, Marvin Gonzalez, and the PNM, and Cam Imbert, Rohan Sunanan, Faris Alwari, this is the position that they put us in because they were the engine room of the PNM. This is the position that they put us in. They borrowed money to do roads and infrastructure. When a UNC politician tell you that the roads and them ain't good, all right, you could class it as politics. I, as a UNC supporter, coalition supporter, you could go ahead and class it as politics. But your responsibility is to actually tour your country and see what people talking about. Point 14 highway is less than 5 years old. And let me tell you something. I have been places around the world, and I could tell you, Point 14 highway is competing for one of the most waviest highway in the world. And this was constructed, completed, they say, under the PNM. This is despite the fact that they told the world, because they borrowed money to do that project, they tell the world, they complete the project, they cut the ribbon and open the project. And when people lend you money to do these things, and then anybody who making a video from Point to San Fernando, you could clearly see that you have to swing back in the communities. You cannot stay on the highway because the highway was not completed. The PNM had 2 terms back to complete the highway from right San Fernando to Point 14. Right San Fernando to Point 14. The part where they're doing Point 14 wavy. The creek collapse. Point 14 part wavy and the creek collapse. They borrowed money and told the world that the project was completed. It's either it's a mad or blind people heading to San Fernando and coming from San Fernando. You might be able to convince somebody in Port of Spain who don't come point. The highway completed. Excuse me. You might be able to convince somebody who living in Toko who don't come point that the highway completed, and you go get them to believe that. But you cannot get nobody from San Fernando, Chaguanas, Point 14, Saparia, Pinal Dede, Marabella. You cannot get nobody from Lobre to agree that the highway is completed. The highway is factually not completed, but the money is spent. And this is the position that we, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, continue to end up in. When you look at the representation of the PNM, and these people sit down inside of a building, having a meeting, and not one of them asks Imbert all them hundreds and millions of dollars, and only build a swimming pool in Lavantil, and only put seating arrangement for the parents, but only put a shed for the parents, but come on. Now I see that Ram Kisun said the land by the Mosquito Creek. The land by the Mosquito Creek is not stable, which is totally understood. So this is where now you use proper engineering to get the job done. Ladies and gentlemen, look at the type of budgets that we read over the years. Over the years, Trinidad and Tobago money is billions of dollars. When you're talking oil and gas, for some strange reason, the people in Trinidad and Tobago, the PNMs, especially the PNM supporters, somebody convinced these people when you're talking oil and gas, because we live in Trinidad and Tobago, them think it's TT, oil and gas must be calculated in it. When you listen to the billions of dollars in corruption, the level of wickedness that was displayed upon the backs of the people of Trinidad and Tobago, billions of dollars. And while they line their pockets and their friends and their foes, they turn around and they tell you your responsibility is to make sure UNC never win election. That's what they tell you. And when you sit back and you watch now, you get to realize why. You get to realize why UNC don't have the stomach and the conscience to box African people out like PNM did it. They don't have the conscience to do it. So I could understand why they try to convince people. UNC don't have the stomach and the conscience to sit back and allow bloggers and supporters to encourage their own people, whether Indian or African, to jump people's fence and say nothing about it. They don't have the conscience to accept that kind of behavior. UNC don't have the stomach and the conscience to be in government and your children in school with knee-high water and then at least try to remedy the problem. They don't have the stomach for it. They don't have the conscience. No matter what UNC you could put pandemics Kamala Day twice. They don't have the conscience after knowing that Trinidad and Tobago is a nation of drastic potential. And the only reason why we could speak as confident as we could speak today is because of our elderly brothers and sisters, the old people who put in the work, old people who come from around the islands, old people who come from India, them who build this nation, the forefathers from here, the ancestors who come in, them who build this nation. And today, whether it is our old Syrian, our old Chinese, our old Indian, our old African, whether it is our old Spanish here legally, and you qualify for pension, you living in an era where your government right now, your today government, have to find a way to raise old age pension because they understand that old people cannot live off of that money. And while old people is left to live off of scraps, the people who build the country, left to live off of scraps, the banks still tipping down in the money. The banks still tipping down in the little kakada. The people who build the country experiencing this. The UNC government don't have conscience to accept that. Hence the reason why the last time UNC was old people Gary's. You have a differently able and a disabled community. People need government support. Some paying rent, and the same man who paying rent have to eat too. PNM told those persons if they help them out with house grant and give them a food card, PNM tell them they're double dipping. PNM tell the world that they're hungry and they're greedy and all you want the government to mine all you. This is fully well known that people with, ladies and gentlemen, you know what it is to have a Down syndrome child in your presence. I don't have one, but I know people with children. That is a very expensive thing. Very expensive. For somebody who cannot walk, somebody who cannot function, not because they choose to, but because they were born that way or end up that way because of accident. And people in those conditions, watch me, the PNM did not have a heart for them. They did not have a heart for them people to take back them people food card. Listen what I'm telling you. Food card they take back. If a mother have a child who had Down syndrome or some kind of differently able position, when the child does get seizure and that mother bound she head to sell bottled water, they take back the money. They take back it's like they wanted the people in this country to die out of starvation. That is the plan, that is what they displayed. But you don't understand. When I tell all you, boy, the PNM, especially in their era, boy, they has them supposed to be. Before PNM come out of office, them was supposed to get Living Waters awards. Awards. You telling me? And beside Living Waters, that other people, other groups, where you feel, despite that people here don't support Insha and Ishmael, but let me be real and reasonable when it's time to give out things. Now Insha used to play part. Let me be real, ladies and gentlemen. Despite sometimes we don't see eye to eye, even Wakaman and all those real cussing get done. And Wakaman had all that cussing. All that cussing. All that mother so and I in business. He verbalizing. When he listened to the conversation, his conscience cannot make him turn it back. Come on. This is just to show you how abnormally wicked these people is. Wicked people. Brothers and sisters, our governing authority needs our continuous support. They need our continuous support. It's just like how people just get up and go to church on a Sunday, they get pulled up. Our government need our support. They need we prayers. They need we continuous endorsement. We must continue to endorse our Honorable Prime Minister. I see that attacking one of our representatives up the road, Sam Morris. And every week there's something new to say about this Morris. Yesterday I started calling around. We don't know the person personally. That's in the narrow area. We don't know the person personally. So I started calling around. And there I get to understand that this Morris man that they are attacking, he have the history. He is one of them could stand up and tell me to. He never support the PNM apparently, as far as I understand. This information I get from my boy Bish too. Bish said no. He is one of them who work his way up the ranks like Khadija Amin. Them been there from the beginning. How where them reach, nobody can say that them zigzag wrong, nobody or bad talk, nobody. Them actually started with youth programs and continued. So I rock back and say, all right. And then the next piece of conversation this week here, explaining to me this is after. The Prime Minister already explained to us who is the Energy Minister. We don't know that Mr. Ernesto Raymond Pisa in the Ministry of Energy is a minister too. And the conversation that this UNC cabal putting out, because I notice a lot of we brothers and sisters finding themselves debating them things. Let me explain something to all. I have to be a damn fool to come here to debate that. I have to be a damn idiot to come here to debate that. Me are saying it can't happen. Me are saying that the man can walk in a meeting and shut down meeting. But the magnitude of the meeting, we all put up, the company that all call, all need to find out who was working in these places first. Because some people just might be able to make a phone call to verify what it is all the same. Or they take the man and say the man walk in a meeting. Shut down Munilal. Shut down Ernesto. What stupidness you're trying to tell me? What level of idiocracy you trying to explain them? Me, I know Mr. Munilal personally, but I had the opportunity to interview Mr. Munilal already. I personally just watch how Mr. Munira just talk, how he does flex, and I be really reasonable. Ain't nobody getting me to believe, based on how it is the UNC functioning right now. Even Philip Edward Alexander, when they're asking him certain things, monitoring how he talking. Even Philip, and everybody know Philip don't play. Philip will regurgitate. But Philip and all working on it because this administration, it is dependent that Trinidad and Tobago gets back in length when it comes to CARICOM, when it comes to being a pillar in the Caribbean, when it comes to people. And you trying to convince me that that man Morris, Mr. Murilal, sit down quiet and allow he to walk past. Mr. Onesto Raymond Kiza, sit down quiet and allow he to walk past and take charge of a meeting. And this is the number one thing right now. New source attacking Matara and UNC Cabal attacking Morris. Brothers and sisters, if your Minister of Homeland Defense could come to you and explain to you that the police officers and them will have to give you 100%. But while we're asking for the 100%, we the people, this is the Minister of Homeland Defense, we the people have to remember that the police and them is drastically short in equipment. Some of them actually out there on active service, active duty with expired bulletproof vests. So picture this, you're leaving home in the morning, hugging up your wife. Some of them are newborn children, some of them are children in school, college, and some of them are children did exam. So regular people in the regular neighborhood. And you had to hug up your children and them and head out to work. When you reach by the police station, you pick up your handgun, you stick it in your holster. And you head out to do the nation's business. And the fact is, all you're trying to do is keep your head above water. You don't want to part on no block. You don't want to part on nothing. I just want to make sure safety and stability in Trinidad and Tobago. But while you're doing all of that, you have to live with the reality that you is a police officer with an expired vest. You can't hear color. I'm Kisuna Sina, big up to Mr. Kiza. Yeah, well, let me continue to send love. Let me continue to send love because I mean, like to tell all you. Based on what these ministers and the people of Trinidad and Tobago inherited from the former administration, things would be way easier if the People's National Movement supporters actually listen to how the representative talking. You see this conversation, Animal Farm, and you don't to go and sit down and read that. And you would tell me, if that those of you who don't do English literature, you would tell me if that Animal Farm, that is exactly who we are because it has done call we animal and we don't live through the negative part already. So it's our responsibility as comrades to move forward. Long live the Animal Farm. Long live Trinidad and Tobago. Long live the UNC. Long live the Coalition of Interest. Long live Tobago and the TPP. Long live the people of Trinidad and Tobago. Brothers and sisters, family and friends, again, my name is Felix. I want to continue to thank you for the continuous love, the support, and the endorsement. Right now, the mixer is down, so you don't know, we really can't take no phone line, no phone calls, and all these kind of things. And we will rectify the problem because, again, as you know, weeping may endure for the night, but joy comes in the morning. Well, you know how we just do it here? We just sit back and complain about things. All responsibility, we must get the messages out. We must continue to reiterate to the governing authority that we support in them full 100. Full 100. We support it. We support it. We might have the differences along the way. We mightn't worship the same way. Because we are Hindu, we are Christian, we are Baptist, we are different spiritual denominations. Collectively, we are one people. collectively. So to every stable-minded Trinbagonian citizen, in and out of Trinidad and Tobago, remember, Gaza Trini, thank you very much. Remember, our responsibility is to always stay focused, is to always mind our business. We're not participating in a conversation of political. Matter of fact, the PNM have no reason to be speaking to people in this country. Because again, I continue to tell you, the level of corruption that took place under the former administration, the level of corruption, Faris Alwari basically break down that this is the words coming out of Faris' mouth. Last week, Monday, check it. Is blatant corruption. The direction that this matter is right now, ladies and gentlemen, I ask you, they're trying to distract you. I am telling you, they're trying to distract you, to deter you from what and from how your community have to evolve. We must evolve as a people. It's supposed to already be common when you bounce up African people who like chutney music. That is like a shocking thing. That is already supposed to be a common thing. That is a common thing in Princeton. When the back of Spring Trace here, that is a common thing. But in certain communities and around certain persons, that is not a common thing. Semantics, I see that. UNC and proud. We just want unity. I see that. Thank you very much. Don't let nobody, listen to what I'm telling you. Don't let nobody, especially my Indian community in Trinidad and Tobago, don't let nobody. We done waiting already. Although we've been waiting 9 years and 8 months, we done waiting already. We've been under this strain already. Don't let nobody, especially my Indian community, when you stand up in the public domain, or you're in the grocery, or you're drinking a beer, coming from church, or you're coming from temple or mosque, and you stand up and say, boy, thank God UNC win this election. And they turn around and they call you racist. My advice to you, don't waste time to answer. Don't let nobody make you feel less than for supporting the right thing. To the African community in Trinidad and Tobago, especially those of us who standing loudly with the UNC. Don't let nobody make you believe that you make the wrong decision. Don't make nobody make you tell you about listen to the conversation about there's a political grasshopper. You can't make up your mind. And don't let nobody tell you that constitutionally you have a responsibility to your children. You have a responsibility to your family. Matter of fact, you have a responsibility to yourself. The UNC is marketing, promoting, and representing in the right direction. You have the responsibility to make the right decision for your family. Not only because of your race. And if you just want to bring it down to race, well, then we can comfortably tell people if something had to be specially done to the administration that control Trinidad and Tobago when you're talking about governance and the African population. And why I say that is based on the percentage of African people who actually have a hold on business. We're not going back to PNM. I see that, and I put that on the screen. So while UNC people who never wavered continue to support the government, only remember all the responsibility too. Because it have people who cross the floor this election And all the responsibilities to continue reminding them why they cross the floor. Remind them they was welcome. Remind them that the organization that they support, for 2-3 of them will get complacent, that the organization that they actually supporting today don't push separation, don't push division. They don't boast about this, the UNC organization don't boast about no direct ethnicity reigning superior. Everybody know who to have respect for. Don't wander off the streets into somebody's house and just sit down and you just taking out food just so. You can't do that. You can't do that. So this is why every day I just tell people, so day by day, while brothers and sisters coming on board and people starting to speak up loudly and supporting the UNC, and we sang the song when UNC win, everybody win. My responsibility is to remind you, yes, everybody win. Nobody is skipping the line. Nobody is skipping the line. There are people who identify throughout this country and tell people whether PNM was there or not, that is supporting the UNC. Plenty of them people lost their job. Plenty of them people was victimized. Plenty of them people was told nothing for you. Hush them out. When they complain about garbage, they being ignored. They complain about water, they being ignored. They complaining about repairing schools that the children going to, they being ignored. Nothing for you. Those were the words. Nobody is skipping the line. I will put on that some of the UNC supporters are like crab in a barrel. When they don't get what they want, they vex. I'm not looking like a PNM tradition sprinkling over in the UNC here. And this is something where we have to remind everybody, if this had to work out, each and every one of us have to play our part positively. You might be dealing with a shortcoming, especially if you want it fixed now. You have to remember that your government didn't read no budget yet. You have to also remember that we don't want to encourage our government to practice corruption. And I remember why I bring up the conversation with the morning brew host. The government put out information, the traffic department put out information. Brothers and sisters, those of you who went into the Brianara coming out this afternoon for today's game, put up information about the traffic restrictions, the traffic regulations. And the host on the morning brew, he find the government out of timing and disrespectful. He find the traffic branch on stupidness for explaining to people parking illegally, you will be told. He find that people should be allowed to park on the highway illegally, just like how Juliet Davy find African people were supposed to run up in Indian people's house and take the thing. Why would we continue advising people to practice illegal activities? And he himself, you're 100% sure when they go abroad and you're going to go and watch a football match, you're going to go in a stadium. You know, we're doing the right thing. We just fold up with paper and all and put it in the pocket. But you're in Trinidad and Tobago, an international match looking to take place. You don't know who coming to visit. You don't know what taking place. The people at Trinidad and Tobago have an opportunity. You don't know what foreign cameras will be out there. And the people of Trinidad and Tobago have an opportunity to show that we could enjoy ourselves, we could support ourselves, and on top of that, we could be a disciplined people. Anthony, I had to put up that Felix, I already have what I need. A good government that working to better the lives of people in TNT. Anthony, I second that. I second that. I second that. You see the next comment here. PNM want US Southern Command gone. So their illegal businesses will continue. That's why this is and this is actually how it looks. This is actually how it looks. Because one would think, based on the amount of murders and gun activities that is taking place on the roadway and that took place because PNM was successful at breaking the murder record. This last year, they damaged it about 3 times. When it comes to murder, you have to monitor what you're doing wrong with PNM, them in charge of recording that. And with all the murders that was distributed, and having knowledge knowing that there is no gun manufacturing center in Trinidad and Tobago, anybody would grasp at the opportunity with any country stating that they come in to fight narcotics. They never say they come in Trinidad. Their conversation is Venezuela and the Caribbean waters. Bad enough, you can control your own waters. Ladies and gentlemen, our responsibility is to continue to endorse our governing authority. So again, I continue to send out blessed good afternoon to our Honorable Prime Minister, Ms. Kamala Persad-Bissessar. I send out a blessed good afternoon to Mr. Raymond Ernesto Kiza. And again, I think I want to run one thing before I leave you. Now, matter of fact, I will open the program with that tomorrow, please, Lord. This is the conversation of Mr. Rowley, the lying Prime Minister, the deceitful, racist Prime Minister. The conversation with Rowley, touching on Petrotrin, and the reason why he and his PNM colleagues had to close down. Now they're going back to saying they closed down Petrotrin, had to close down Petrotrin. Hey, New York, blessed good afternoon. Saying good afternoon, Felix, blessing to you. Good show. As usual, could you tell me what happened to TC and Heavy? No, what happened to TC and Heavy? Again, I remember we going through the alignment. So everything comes at a cost. So what happened to TC and Heavy and them? Remember then, nobody really gone out to work yet. And let me just touch on this here while this person asks this. The argument is that they still have 120 or 180 board members outstanding and the UNC moving slow when it comes to incorporating people in the boards and all of this. Ladies and gentlemen, let me explain something to you. I believe that we have the relevant boards that is needed until budget read to run this country. Because let me tell you something, installing board members is one, you go glad that people who we know educated, people who skilled, people who actually supported the UNC, who could really do it at board work right now. But the whole Heights is not just about giving somebody a board work. The Heights is actually about being able to pay the person on the board. So I believe that the UNC did the responsible thing by pausing with some of these boards. That money could actually fluctuate in society. I don't know if brothers and say, you know, since how quiet the population is. Last week, the correlate, and when we get book grant, and when we get laptops, and when we get this, and when we get in that. Monday, the government explained over 5,000 people received the grant, and they spend all their money wisely, and by the 5th of September, the last set of money would be distributed to the relevant accounts. The recipients will get the resources. I don't know if it is only catch 4-month students is about to get the laptops. Brothers and sisters, you notice the PNM didn't even come out and talk about that. They didn't come out that information is in the public domain. But again, seeing that actually, Chairman and I working here, I didn't get you, but the PNM, for some strange reason, I didn't qualify. But I know brothers and sisters can understand why me and my children couldn't qualify. Because for the longest, we have been publicly telling people that we supported the UNC. From the day these things started surfacing, and before. So we've been publicly telling people we supported the UNC, so they never liked the order. So I think we could carefully say to the people who actually supported the UNC, plenty of we children wouldn't get you with a book grant. The government just had to unfold what was implemented and close off that chapter and allow it to go. While we in the book discussion, we also encouraging our governing authority, the school book rental support structure, if it is as we navigate into next year, if we can do something about implementing that, because that will help out the parents and them drastically. It will help out a lot. Again, I say thank you very much to the Minister of Education, thank you very much to the Minister of Finance, thank you very much to our Honorable Prime Minister for the laptops that are about to be distributed to the Form 1 children in our society. Hats off, full 100 support, thank you very much. It shows that you are a government of your word. Ladies and gentlemen, you wouldn't see this on no PNM platform because they're damn displeased. They don't want the people and them to be educated. They don't want them to be aware. They don't want them to understand that the gates of opportunity that has been opened for the people of Trinidad and Tobago. So, with that, I say this. When things happen, they doesn't hear about the good things. They doesn't hear about the bad things. Right now, it's kind of slow money kind of thing. So TC and Heavy and them balancing the thing in a way, you ain't putting no pressure to the platform where they are. Because at the end of the day, the persons has been accommodating them with the conversation. But Mr. Kiza had to go with British come and meet. You can see that they are send that to me. Petrochin is not close. Trimmer. The trimmer you're talking about. They say they reshuffle trimmer. This is the reason why. As we now ask Kenson contract is up. We pushing for a local contractor to control that because we have local contractors that could actually handle that labor thing. Look, Nick put it up there. TC and Heavy would not be back for the rest of the week. Because brothers and sisters be working on things. Somebody say Heavy will be showing this afternoon. Actually, matter of fact, Heavy tell me we are trying to call him one day in the weekend. So he can, because I told him that brothers and sisters is actually the love there. This is what I'm telling people. Nobody can tie up my head about, oh, we can't live in unity because African and Indian here supporting 648 400. Nobody can chain up my head to tell me about Indian people be here racial. Well, Sammy, everybody here normal, and soon everybody here normal giving the support. So nobody can chain me up. I tell you want to talk, you want an Indian to put you in your place, just be disrespectful. Nobody never tell you that Indian people have no mouth. Vineyard, I hope you get a good position. You have been fighting. You see, this is the thing. Let me explain something to brothers and sisters. What it is I actually was fighting for. I never actually was fighting for board, state board, and these kind of things. My genuine plight actually was the schools. And once we get back, you notice what I talk and now mention Petrotrin Trimmer, Kenson controlling Trimmer, there is no profit for the people of Point Fortin. So we have to get the local contractors. As a young, vibrant fella, I just do blasting and I can blast and paint the whole day. Based on my contribution in blasting and painting, the government had to make adjustments and implement working hours that you can't work more than 3 hours. Because of people like myself and Dean and Derek Smart and certain blasters who does blast all day. When the white folks and them evaluated, they say, no, they're playing mad in Trinidad and they break it down to 3 hours a session. So I'm young and I'm vibrant, so I wouldn't waste time to pull argument to go and argue for state board. I still have years ahead of me, so I could still jump back in the oil field and do blasting and painting and be a contributing factor to my country when my country really need me. So this is why I must continue to push for my member of parliament here in the Ministry of Energy. I must continue to endorse Mr. Munilal because they've been talking about continually having Petrotrin closed. They not continue having conversation of companies like Kenson who don't belong to Point Fortin. That's why I'm telling you that means the Burgesses of Point Fortin cannot capitalize on the management structure of Kenson because they don't live in Point Fortin. They don't spend money in Point Fortin. They don't have an office in Point Fortin. So then there's no profit in Point Fortin. So as soon as that contract is up, we need the relevant persons. We have Theo Richards. See that. We have Demas. Come on. We even have Hydrotech. We're talking about we have local contractors in Point Fortin to handle the employment structure. And this is where I fit in. Along the way, come on, look, CPEP looking to open up. Let me be real and reasonable. We're telling me Trinidad and Tobago go uproar if your boy open gas CPEP contract. I doubt that. So it have places where it could fit me. I don't have to fit in on no board. We are looking at them kind of argument. It have places that I could fit in where I could continue bringing my support. Don't forget URP. They will be back and URP will be back. Yes, that's the truth. All these programs and then based on what I gained to understand, it was confirmed to me. CPEP is not going anywhere. CPEP will be back. All right, you want to be technical? Let me explain to you why it is I can tell you that Trimmer and Petrotrin shut down. Because Trimmer and Petrotrin on the whole, on paper, has been demolished. That is facts. On paper, it has been demolished. The workers don't work there. They use a fraction of the workers. What's for less than 10% of the Trimmer workers working down there with Kenson right now. So I could comfortably tell you, yes, Petrotrin Trimmer has been closed. Yes. The people who actually run and govern there, they don't work there. This is why we end up with all these oil spills ever so often. So yes, it's shut down. But you could use the PNM thing. This is the PNM structure. The PNM structure is telling people, just like why I started the program. Imbo just explained hundreds of millions of dollars borrowed to do projects. The fact that they borrow the money, we the people of Trinidad and Tobago supposed to say, well, they borrow the money and we're supposed to be comfortable with that. The money was spent. Where was it spent? Where was it spent? This is just like me asking, all right, if Petrotrin is not closed, Trimmer Inn closed down, where are the workers? Where are the workers? Where is the safety structure? Where are these things? So don't come on my page and try to be technical. Right? Don't try that. After the budget, CPEP, I look like Rampi soon minding the business. Rampi soon minding the business. They're minding the business, ladies and gentlemen. The UNC government could not make a commitment of $1.4 billion without going before Parliament and discussing. And on top of that, they read a budget. The safest thing to do is let me pause. We are go dead. We are go dead. If you kill yourself, that is one thing. But let me pause. There are thousands of people starving while PNM in office. Some kill themselves. But we navigate. You don't look at us. We're going to make it out. We will make it out. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, family and friends, once again, you know, it's a boy Urban. Again, you know all the time they don't bother the poor people. All of a sudden, they want to take care of them. They want to take care of the poor people. You listen what the Rasta tell them last night, though. The Rasta explaining that he here to serve. Rasta telling them that he's the one who replaced Adrian Leonsi. He here to serve. And everything he's saying is that the people have to come with everything else. They don't have resources. They don't have nothing to give to the people. All they did when they was in office is eat, drink, wine, dine, who daughter they could sleep with, who marriage they could break up. Them in charge of that. Them in charge of that. People see the behavior they display in Point Fortin. They have a big PNM one. Big PNM one. Every time you talk about the shortcomings of PNM, especially in Point Fortin, he quick to come up and defend the former member of parliament. He quick to come up and explain how good it is to be a part of the PNM. When you sit down and you watch them and they're telling you about homosexual thing. I sit down and I watch this same man the other day, they talking about Mr. Barry Pararat and bad talking, and take Barry Pararat and put him in homosexual, and take this one like we know Barry and them business. The same man who put comment on that, if all you see the video that young boy have outside in the public domain, if all you see the nasty act, if all you see, what's the video so dread? If I share a video, if I share a video on YouTube, Facebook and YouTube and TikTok will ban me. First, the video disgusting with a young boy practice. And they quick to attack the homosexual community, you know. They're quick to talk down on homosexual people and practicing the folly behind closed doors. You know, if you went to carry your phone to fix, you know what actually happened. But I could tell you that PNM representatives in Point 14, the love, especially the men, those who claim to be men, the love to put things, objects in their body based on that video that surfaced. And all they want to call out UNC. Every opportunity they get, they put in UNC supporters under some homosexual thing, under some haram thing, under some disrespectful thing. When them people don't know here, especially on 6, I don't know how other platforms does run, but on 648 platform, well, let me tell you something. You see your bedroom business, that is not my business. Nobody wouldn't catch me here, sit down talking about me and my wife sexual practices. And I believe a homosexual should be given the same privacy. On top of that, my responsibility is to always clarify while we're on the topic that as a man does read the Bible. The Bible that I read say a man should leave his mother and his father's house. The two shall become one. The two shall become one. My responsibility is not to fight down nobody who will read that yet. My responsibility, I'm dealing with too much issues. I'm dealing with too much issues to target the homosexual community who not even studying me. They're not even coming in my way. They're not on my platform pushing the vibes. So it looked to me like them have respect. So if them in the category, minding their business, and I already told you that I have the doctrine that a man should leave his mother and father's house and the two shall become one. The fact of me having that knowledge in my head, I also had the knowledge that somebody don't have the authority. I don't have the authority. I consider myself, I don't read the Bible. I don't have the authority to talk down on no Hindu person. In Trinidad and Tobago, we playing the damn fool. That is why we continue to be stuck. You have no authority to talk down on no Muslim. Talk down on no Baptist, no Jehovah's Witness, no Rasta, no Ethiopian Orthodox. And we keep doing that, and we just allow people who don't practice spirituality. People, we are allowing them to bad talk with spiritual denominations in this country. And to me, it has to stop. It is unacceptable. If in these 5 years, we don't encourage the UNC to make some sort of adjustment, some sort of procurement when it comes to the laws of discrimination. We have to encourage our government to make those type of implementations. The Baptists come out and they give support, we condemning the Baptists. The Hindu come out and they giving support, or they praying to idol. All kind of disrespectful out that nothing to bring food on your table. Nothing to bring food on your table. Everything is an excuse. Make an excuse. You don't want to do nothing to uplift your children? Well, all right, you know them Indian and them that be praying whole day. And it's idol gods they're praying too. You have to buy books for your damn children. What the hell you tell anybody the Indian man praying? And then Muslim and them feel this badge on. What the hell does that to do with your whole... Ladies and gentlemen, let we stay focused and let we stay blessed. Let we understand, and my responsibility is to remind you that the Indian man is not your enemy. The Indian man is not your enemy. You was told, you grow up hearing that. It's time you do some evaluation. Talk to your children when they come from school and school open back. Find out if there are Indian kids in the class. Find out if the Indian children just watch your children direct in your face and call them monkey. Find out. Find out. See if you and buy over a fight for somebody who just wants to stay in power to live off our puts. All that racial talk there is just for PNM to stay in power to live off our puts. Because you can't say they're staying in power and uplifting the community. You can't say they're staying in power and building high-rise building. Let us build high-rise building for the self and then implement property tax and exempt themselves from paying tax. That is PNM style. By now, the right-thinking citizens know PNM supporters and the ministers stupid bad. I don't think the PNM ministers and them stupid bad. I honestly believe that they know exactly what it is they're doing because they have been doing it for years. They manipulate the people of Trinidad and Tobago. They manipulate especially the African, and they manipulate how much Indian people they could catch. You see the businessman who catch them lapsing and dig out the eye? Well, dig out the eye. That business. That business. If it is, you have poor representation, you'll get any kind of thing. Over the years, we sit down and we see, even Miss Kamala come and apologize. She apologized. She gave everybody the opportunity to man the post. The last time around, didn't man them to report. She's like, oh, she doing it this time around? She didn't man them to report. And you see how helter-skelter it get. While she at it, she's still fighting against crime while she at it. She's still supporting the United States of America in the war against narcotics. While she could still proudly tell me that she's an Indian woman. Come on! What the hell you telling me? Don't get better than that. While she's the first and second female prime minister of this nation. Business people don't care. Business people don't waste time to care about race. This is why I'm telling people that African people, how you listen to them talk, you would swear them as Indian. It's not that, it's that them don't have time with them kind of stupidness. That race talk in your mouth. Every African I meet in this country who have any form of asset, them don't care about race. And there are Africans who would tell you, if them was actually a racist, they would have been a pauper. They would have been a pauper. Because it have Africans like myself who have no problem doing business with other Africans, Indian people, Syrian, who wants you doing legal business. And then it have African people in this country who their responsibility is to collapse your business. They just live to do that. So they will suck you and suck you and suck you and suck you until you end up with nothing. And when they don't suck you, the family members rob you. If they leave you alive, you're lucky. And then if you survive that, and PNM in power, and you go for a firearm license, you shoot bandits. If they come in your property, people call in here, they rob 4 times. 4 times the family get robbed. The whole family of after getting robbed 4 times, obviously you living in fear. And PNM still find an excuse should not give them people firearm license. I know some might say, when you talking PNM, don't give firearm. Gone so with that. This PNM who played games with Commissioner of Police. Them who started a penis measurement competition with Gary Griffin. And all the supporters sit down and accept that. So they does play games. Look how nice it. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, Alexander Black, he ugly and he's stupid just like me. He dotish. He all the above. But yet still, he could still organize a commissioner of police to be installed without confusion and bacchanal. I go rather that. I rather that. You keep Fitzgerald Hines with all his THs and all them things. I go take this here. After who grew up in the UNC Indian area, but like, do not like the Hindu who live in PNM. Not I really. Larry. Ladies and gentlemen, people who want, I wonder if, what is the saying here? And this I wonder if Jesus Christ cross, which is on the wall, is not an idol. That's a good question. That is a good question. And between me and you, don't even waste time to go back and forth. Because at the end of the day, nobody cannot tell nobody how to pray. So you don't even waste time to even go down that road with them. Thank God the Hindu community over the years did not make no adjustments when they started hearing these people up in their feelings. Bad enough, you're not even a part of my spirituality. You're not even a part of my congregation. You're not a part of my temple. So I don't have to explain to you what I doing and how I doing my thing. And then with these people with a stupid argument, come and mash up the whole cultural vibes, you know. Because as much as Diwali is an Indian celebration, Diwali used to be the time when we get to go out and sightsee and you see lights and then we don't leave out the food part. Mash up the whole unity thing we had going. When Christmas time come, we Indian partner coming by we and we line in and we call them coming to see with the and there's a whole vibes. Mash up the whole unity thing, you know. Look at that. The people up here saying them and the husband get rubber. Let's check the comment sector. So when you hear government that telling all you, no Independence Day, thank you very much, UNC. Stand your ground, thank you very much, UNC. Imagine we importing weed from America. What about Kamala Kamala's proposal? This is the next thing. Woo! Thank you very much, Smith, for touching on that. Thank you very much for touching on that. So my fellas and them who on the streets, the hot boy, the neighborhood, what do us call them? Community leaders. All we have to be real and reasonable. Again, I'm talking, people are saying making sense, and making sense, people are saying and making sense. Or they shut me down, let the people and them know one time, and we'll stop talking crap. When you look into the communities in Trinidad and Tobago, to say that we have an overwhelming drug problem, we okay to say that. In each community have, even that 10 piper in each community, it happens. Right? So we don't really have an overall overwhelming crack cocaine problem. But something that is very common in neighborhoods is marijuana smoking. Now, all right, Ms. Kamala Prasad, Mr. the first one had started the whole conversation with the whole marijuana group was speaking and so forth. They did all the research and everything. I don't know if I catch the documentary. I'll try to look for it to share. And then instead of when Rowley win election, he come in and do the responsible thing. All he come in and he just give people the opportunity to smoke marijuana. So he give them the opportunity, 30 grams and so forth. My response, my conversation this afternoon is to them fellas and them who on the streets, the pusherman, the neighborhood, the community leaders and so forth. Right? You find yourself in a position where you could take your marijuana hustle and make it a legal hustle. Understand the conversation where the government is at. The government didn't leave out nobody. And the government in saying they're not supporting nobody. Aha. Ramkey soon. Right there going. Right there going. You see, if this marijuana thing have to make any sense, meaning it have to turn into a legal money-making thing, we cannot expect the government of Trinidad and Tobago to make all the investment. The private sector have to get involved. Young man on the streets, the bosses, the community vibes. This is where all you come in. This is where all you come in. Come in and have the relevant consultation. Come in and have the relevant conversation. Matter of fact, all you need to have that conversation among all yourselves. Because just like agriculture, this could fall under agriculture. But we cannot expect the government, while the government trying to build back a nation. Ladies and gentlemen, since 2015, up to when UNC now win back the election, every year it had common entrance. Every year we had children finishing school. Every year we had children entering the school system. Listen to me. People has not been getting the opportunity for work. Check the heights. Check the heights. On a yearly basis, average 18 to 20,000 children complete school. And if you calculate that 10 years under the PNM, basically, ladies and gentlemen, you have a vivid idea. Nearly 200,000 folks run through the school system within 10 years. Unemployed. No direction, no guidance. Understood, understood. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the viewers saying that they're a spiritual person and they don't like people saying this. Who is the person who's saying this last thing on the chat here? Well, let's talk to me because I missed that. One of us can safely say we feel safe with the US than Venezuela. That is so true. Who is the person being disrespectful on the chat here? TNT used to feed UK and USA. Now they feeding us with junk. We have to turn it back. All right, I've seen that. Who is the person being disrespectful? Because all I know, he doesn't entertain that thing. And 9 out of 10, somebody being disrespectful is somebody who come from the PNM camp. And you don't know we have the right set of answers to answer them. Because until we start to get some answers concerning the $144 billion or with $2.6 billion concerning the Auditor General. And then the list goes on concerning these millions of dollars we input without last night. $27 billion by the former minister explaining that they invested in small and micro businesses. You know, PNM person have no right to come up here and have no conversation. They're crazy. PNM have no reason to be here discussing anything after leaving Trinidad and Tobago starving for water. They left the people thirsty, especially the Indian communities. The data shows that I live in Point Port, and I could tell you that if you have a person in sea, just could tell you that there was getting abundance of water, whether Indian or African, whether PNM or otherwise. PNM had a ball with victimizing the people in Trinidad and Tobago. So no PNM person cannot come up on this chat to disrespect nobody. We're not accepting that. That is not allowed. We left already. Thank you very much. That is not allowed. But ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, this is why I continue to tell you when we talk with confidence. Especially when you're over here. You're typing, type with confidence. We in this together. We supporting our government together. On top of that, we supporting with families together. You know why? Because we want betterment for the children. We want the opportunity when it comes to sports, we want it to open properly. When it comes to our mothers and our wives, our daughters, heading out, those who do insecurity, those who working far, and just have to come out on the roadway and wait for taxis. I don't know about by all you, but down by me here, ever so often they just get raped because of inadequate light. Sorry for saying it like that, but it's hurtful, and I have girl children. I have girl children in my presence. I have aunts and nieces around me. So I am seriously concerned about those things. Look how many people get robbed in the businesses, how much people was murdered in the businesses, how many houses was invaded. So our responsibility, as much as we asking the police to do the due diligence, as much as we asking the government to implement relevant things to bring about comfort, and asking the citizens, pay attention to what is going on. If your activities you were practicing before was because things wasn't hard, although that is not an excuse, understand that you have an opportunity to change your hustle, change your vibes. Because you could do what we want, we could say what we want. At the end of the day, each and every one of us must play a part in building Trinidad and Tobago back to the standard that it's supposed to be and beyond. Obviously, the PNM didn't want the job. Obviously, when you sit down and you read this book, The Chicken, when you read, ladies and gentlemen, The Animal Farm, when you read the book, that is why Inbert had to speak about it last night. Understand that they label us as animals. Understand they disrespected the East Indian community. They neglected the African community. They targeted the Syrian community. Disrespected the Chinese community. And allowed the Spanish to come in and do what they want. And they barely helped the Spanish people. They barely helped them. They left them down secrets on the beach. Used them holes on the beach as toilet facilities. Didn't even drop water for them. These people are abnormally wicked. It's like they just love separation around them. Brothers and sisters, we have a responsibility. We have a responsibility to ourselves. Again, weeping may endure for the night, but joy comes in the morning. That was my favorite book. Well, only when that man, let me tell you something. Them children and them just do the schoolwork around me. I remember with the talk, when he talked about the animal farm last night, well, Alicia get heated one time. Alicia said, Nada, let me come. You remember when we were talking so, and then remind me. And then they go upstairs and bring this down for me. Because they had to summarize the animal farm and all of these things. And again, let me use the animal farm to summarize. Let me summarize the animal farm. And the main structure behind it basically is our responsibility as supporters, those in authority. You don't just follow and support blindly. Meaning, mind your business. And if last week Monday, Ms. Kamala is here, they're the boss. Last week Monday, she addressed the people who working under she and explained to them. You see the people who support all the phone calls, all it was answering before the election. All they have to go back to that. For them, the people depending on all. And if Ms. Kamala Prasad Disesa, with the position she holds, understands the value of her supporters, my brothers and sisters, long live, long live the windmill, long live the animal farm, long live the UNC and the coalition of interest. I want to thank each and every one of you all for tuning, for viewing, for listening with us. Again, brothers and sisters, remember I told already, the mixer is done. So if the Lord laid upon your heart to say you want to be a part of the, as supporting the platform, fully, we can really do with that support. With a new mixer, we will be able to play little music. All you know, I like my little music vibes, so I can imagine the position that I'm in. And I know all that kind of fed up when I tune in and I'm trying to play a song and it's something squeaky and all kind of things. So, brothers and sisters, all you know the slogan is each one help on a chain is only as strong as its weakest link. Being a good person is not an option, but that's the only option in today's society. So be good. Kamala putting God in front and walking behind, and is that. And that is what they're encouraging all the members, all the citizens to do. Put God in front, no mind your denomination, no mind your spirituality. Put God in front and you walk behind. He will guide our way. He will order our steps. Ladies and gentlemen, remember, we continue to be in this together. So I want to send, let me do a little shout out before I go. Who we are here. Go Paul, blessed day, blessed day. Gopal said UNC trying to build up. PNM want to break down. Gopal right there in opposition on our responsibilities to make sure that the last day about 20 years. Iowa senior, blessed good afternoon, Anthony. Big up yourself. Thanks for the Esmut, blessed good afternoon. Ram Kisoon, Ram Kalawan, blessed good day, blessed good day, blessed good day. Who you are again? Sing, big up yourself, big up yourself. Mikey, big up yourself. Just School, big up yourself. Everyone who up on the live, Jen, bless, big up yourself. Monica, big up yourself. The Hulk, I seen that semantics. Every single person that belly. What about Granny? I hear from Granny in a bit. Anyhow, our Granny number, I'll give you Granny a call. So I'll give you an update on Granny tomorrow, please. So I'll give Granny a call when I finish here. That belly, don't feel I forget you. I remember you. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, as we continue to navigate, remember, when the morning break, please don't miss Andy Williams in the morning, please, the Lord with the professor. Remember the Douglas politics, Mr. Arnold Roberts is out and about. He continue to bring the facts. Remember, we boy breaking down, you might have a medical issues you're dealing with. If you call him, get a relevant remedy, get the relevant answers that you need. And big up to my boy with breaking down here because that is a damn good initiative that is being done. Again, remember your boy Urban here between the hours at 12 and 2. Brothers and sisters, we are TC and Heavy, who somebody said Heavy will be up this afternoon. But either way, the show is off for the week. They will be back up next week. Remember, we boy Stack Entertainment, Jason De Silva, we boy Ravi Figaro. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, Real Talk is not just Real Talk with Urban Felix, it's a Real Talk corner. So that sister, big up yourself, sister. You continue to stay focused. And we boy Ali, let me keep a close eye on we boy Real Talk with Ali. Because again, you know how PNM doing it. They're trying to attack the Indians and them to get them speaking out of context. So make sure all you go up there, give Ali that support. Make sure all you cover Ali when the day reach. Make sure they pray for we supporters, pray for the government, pray for each other. Because ladies and gentlemen, the journey has just begun. It has just begun. We have some years in this well. People don't say it already and they're continuing to say, not me saying it. The Indian people in the community totally supporting Ms. Kamala Prasad-Bisesa. And over here, you see African people calling in and explaining to you that since April 28th is the best African representation they get under Ms. Kamala Prasad-Bisesa. So I am telling you, brothers and sisters, especially to the Africans, what do they call them? The naysayers or the trolls, especially the trolls. My responsibility is to remind you, despite what you say, despite what you hear, at the end of the day, you nor your former government cannot explain where the monies of Trinidad and Tobago was spent. Pray for the Prime Minister for long life, health, and strength. I see that. I see that. And brothers and sisters, how could Trump expect the Venezuelan people to rise up against Maduro when deporting all the anti-Maduro people back to Venezuela? Trump not happy. That's a good one. I never noticed nothing about that, so I got to do some research in that. And my next thing with that, before I go, the Venezuelans and them that is in Trinidad and Tobago, what is all the contribution when it comes to this United States of America? Yes, I see that. Good afternoon to my MP, Clyde Ella. We have to big up Clyde. Or let us start back at that. So we have to big up Clyde Ella. Let me send some love to Vandana Mogi. Let me send some love to Mr. Sturge, Mr. Alexander. Even though we Senator, Mr. Philip Edward Alexander, we sending out some love to Mr. Daniel Roberts. We sending out some love to Ms. Jolene John. We sending some love to Mr. Lakram Boudou. Ladies and gentlemen, what's my all in easy, you know? All in easy. All in easy. We can't continue to call on everyone. But again, we're sending out some love to the entire UNC family. The entire family. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, again, it's all about Urban and I am out. And again, I really want to hear what Venezuelans are saying concerning Venezuela, the fight against drugs, and the United States of America being in Caribbean waters by their doorstep. Ladies and gentlemen, only let's stay focused, let's stay blessed. Let us all remember that each and every one of us, despite what it might be slow right now, it might be hard right now, we're waiting on our budget to read to move forward right now. But here it is, ladies and gentlemen, weeping may endure for the night, but joy comes in the morning. You have the responsibility to continue to stay positive because you must always remember what was done to the people of Trinidad and Tobago. They did it so blatantly that Rowley abandoned the job. First, they did it blatantly. First, they did business. What we say, how we say and what we expected of them. The United National Congress said, we got to figure out our way and fix it. We will fix it. And brothers and sisters, it cannot be fixed without my help. It can't be fixed without your help. Zeboy open. And until we meet again tomorrow, please, Lord, I continue to send some love out to my mother down there in Georgia. And my stepfather, Ed, big up yourself. The baby, big up yourself, baby. Even CC, big up yourself. I'm sending out some love to my brothers and sisters outside of Trinidad and Tobago and those locally. Grenada, Guyana, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, British Virgin Islands, St. Kitts and Nevis, Barbados, wherever you are. All your blessed good afternoon and nothing but love this blessed Wednesday, the 27th of August in beautiful Trinidad and Tobago. I love all you. Until we meet again, later.